One of the most interesting concepts I've heard and learned recently is called pipeline equity. And got this from Cole Gordon. And the idea behind it is very simple. But I haven't heard of it put in that way for a sales context. So think of pipeline equity as the amount of goodwill that you have created for a group. So whether that's a Facebook group, a YouTube channel, an email list, even your personal Facebook profile. So if you got, one of my clients got like 5,000 friends that he has added and created over the last few years. And all of his friends are chiropractors. And he has a program that helps chiropractors run a better business. But I don't think he's ever promoted to to his friends on Facebook, right? So it's to his personal profile on Facebook. So anyways, I help him create a series of posts. I think I did 3. The first one got nothing, and then the second and third one just blew up. In the span of about a week, we generated so far 28 leads of highly qualified chiropractor businesses who are interested in his business scaling program. So, and what I really want to talk about today is the idea around pipeline equity. And again, at a very simple level, it is the amount of goodwill that you have created within your target market. And so how do you create goodwill, right? You provide real value. So whether that's training, content that actually help people, ideas, perspectives, basically this is the idea of nurturing. So and that grows pipeline equity, right? And what detract and subtract and reduce pipeline equity is promotions, right? Or sales, promo stuff, right? And so the whole idea around this from Cole Gordon is you want to kind of monitor your pipeline equity at all times. And when things are great, meaning you have a lot of appointments, you want to build the pipeline equity. So don't try to promote more to the list, but build value so that when things are slower, right? When things slow down, whether that's seasonal or something change in the market, you can actually tap into the pipeline equity to create more meetings and more appointments. So what I see a lot of mistakes, the biggest mistake that I see with a lot of the coaching online, maybe marketing services that I see online, is all they do is extracting from the pipeline equity, right? So they run a VSL or they do ads, and they go into the pitch right away. And that, again, subtract from the pipeline equity, right? So, and they do email every day, but every email is a promotion. And it works. It can work in the beginning, especially if you're got a newer offer and the market needs it. It's great in the beginning, but over time you exhaust the goodwill of the list. And I've got another company I used to work with, which is the perfect example of this. They spent years building a business off from the back of a lot of goodwill in the market. However, and it was great in the beginning, right? They launched $1 million a product in a weekend off from a very small list, relatively small list, because they built so much value and so much pipeline equity, right? It's basically a blue ocean of hot, ready buyers with a pretty compelling product and offer, but they didn't really spend too much time building equity and kind of expand and grow that pipeline equity. So what happens is, in the end, over a span of a few years, right, the company stops growing. And I think, right, this could be a very biased opinion, and I think the reason is because they never really spent a lot of time and efforts on providing value and creating a lot of goodwill with the market by content, by just giving away things, right? Everything was behind a product launch, if you will. And so it worked great in the beginning, right? Because there was a lot of pipeline equity and only a little bit of promotion. But now, I think they're running into, and this is why a lot of companies have to go from like VSL to cold outbound to, and usually that transition is very painful. It's because they don't have a content strategy and a way to nurture and add value and grow that pipeline equity. So it's just a really interesting concept. One of the things that Colter Gordon said that really kind of clicks with me as I was running sales teams is you want to take a look and monitor your calendar or your team's calendar every day, just to see the flow of your appointments, right? Are you getting really busy, or are you kind of slowing down with appointments? And the use for pipeline equity is you want to build up a lot of equity when things are great, especially in the beginning, right? You want to give a lot of value in the beginning, where most companies do the opposite. In the beginning, they're extracting from the community, right? Or the crowd, or the followers. You want to do the opposite. But the point here is when it's really, really busy, when the calendar is packed, you want to build and provide value into your content, a lot of that, right? And then when it slows down, right, if you're seeing empty spaces on your calendar, then you could start doing more promotional based post, what my mentor call, what does he call it? Ask or give post, right? So that's the idea behind it. It's really interesting. Think about it with your pipeline, right? If you're a sales leader or you're owner of the business, and think about ways that you can, on great days, how do you build value? How do you grow that pipeline equity? Knowing that when things are slowing, you can actually tap into that and you can ask from the market. This is the same idea as the Gary Vee, jab, 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 right hook. So yeah, very interesting.